Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Mike Chase here with, some Madden 23 beta impressions. Initially, I didn't receive a beta code. I guess EA sort of said I wasn't cool enough to get one. But recently, they finally sent one out to me, and which I appreciate. Well, I don't know if I actually appreciate. I signed up asking for one, so it's not like I should be like, "Wow, thanks guys for giving me this beta code. You're so awesome." But they recently sent me one, and I was able to, play it. I've played a decent bit of the beta. I can still play it. So maybe I'll play some more of it and have some different thoughts. But I have to say, the thing I noticed right away is I felt like movement was actually a lot better. I felt like since what was it, Madden 21 Next Gen, I felt like movement took a real step backwards. I felt like it was just way too, how do I say this? I felt a little too stuck in the mud. It felt like it just took too long to do certain actions and things like that. I feel like cutting it was sort of not good. I felt like Madden 22 kind of got a little bit better at that, but I felt like this one, I think it really sort of takes it back, in my opinion. It takes it all the way back to sort of, I would say, Madden 21 old gen on the PS4 and Xbox One, kinda. A little bit better for sure, but that's sort of how I feel about it. I feel like the movement feels a lot better in this game, and I think, and that's pretty nice, I have to say. I do like the movement. I thought running the ball, I found to be a lot more fun. It was actually, I would say, it was easier to get in between the tackles in the Madden 23 beta. I found it a lot easier to sort of change directions if your lane sort of gets clogged up by a blocker. In previous Maddens has been kind of difficult to sort of quickly change your direction and sort of hit the hole or re-hit the hole or whatever proper term for that is. But I always felt like past couple years that's been a little more difficult than it should be. And then, recently in the Madden 23 beta, it's a lot easier to do that. If there's a guy there, you're still going to get tackled, for sure. But I think it does a lot better job at that this year. I think replicating that, sort of running in between the tackles. So I think you'll be able to, run between the tackles a lot better if you have a good enough running back and things like that. A negative I noticed, once again, it seems like there's some weird stuff with some of the routes where it seems like guys just would take a split second to get off the line. I noticed in like certain drag routes and things like that. I don't know if that's like an intentional thing because those routes are maybe so good or something like that, but it's something I noticed where at times it felt like they just didn't get off the route right out of their break. It just wasn't as good as it should have been. Is something I noticed right away in the Madden 23 beta. Another thing I noticed, at least to me, way too many fumbles. Something I noticed. I know that's supposed to be like part of the new hit system or something like that. But I just noticed way too many fumbles on just sort of routine tackles. The ball would just come out far too often. So that's going to be something that I hope that's just more of a beta thing where maybe they have it tuned a little too high right now is the fumbles. Another thing I noticed, like, it wasn't a lot of hit stick fumbles. I have to say, I didn't notice hit stick fumbles. It was just sort of just normal tackle fumbles where the guy just drops the football. So like I said, just not really a big fan of that sort of stuff. I feel like if you line someone up and you get a good hit stick on them, I think, if the person has the right hit power, the person doesn't have a good, carry rating, I think those are situations where you should be rewarded with a fumble. I still really didn't see a lot of that in Madden 23. I felt like we saw a little bit of that in Madden 22, we saw a little bit in Madden 21, and then, once the game gets to sort of the, I would say, more competitive community, you sort of see that go away, and that's something that I think I've noticed again here in Madden 23. I felt like it just wasn't enough sort of fumbles and things like that for hit sticks compared to sort of other actions like there were just like tackles and things like that, where you did see, I think, far too many fumbles. And then, in the passing game, I don't know if this is necessarily a negative or a positive or what, I felt like at times they sort of broke on things just a little too fast. I think we wanted to see zones, I think, more properly played. But I felt like at times they were breaking on things kind of too quick. But that's always been my thoughts with Madden at times when they tighten up the coverage. Their idea of tightening up the coverage, I don't think has ever really involved them actually playing better coverage. It's more involved, this is just my opinion, in sort of just giving them sort of that, precognition, sort of like Minority Report. If you've ever seen that movie where they can predict the crimes perfectly every time, it sort of feels like they have that ability, as opposed to playing good coverage and things like that. They definitely feel a little more aggressive. The defensive backs do. They definitely feel like they will try to make a break on a route a lot more often, and I think right now the way the game's tuned, that can lead to a little bit too much. I notice this even at playing defense myself. I notice that I think it just results in just too many interceptions right now. I think there's just a lot of interceptions in the game right now. I think overall just way too many turnovers in the game. So that'll have to be sort of retuned. Another new feature they added this year was sort of the skill-based passing. I'm gonna need a lot of time with this, personally, because I feel like this skill-based passing, and this is something that I only felt as a user, the new and improved pass rush. I feel like one, the pass rush, at least when we're facing the pass rush, is a little too quick. When you're playing defense, I feel it sort of just feels like the pass rush is sort of just non-existent still. It feels like it's still more reliant on you using your defensive ends and your edge rushers and getting a immediate shed animation. That's how the game wants you to get pressure. It doesn't feel like necessarily like there's going to be a consistent way for your defenders to get pressure. It doesn't feel like they're gonna push the pocket as much as I would say the CPU does. Maybe this is something that sort of like works out when it comes to head-to-head competitive play, but I feel like user CPU gameplay, it's still sort of the situation where it's kind of just odd to me, where it just sort of feels like you're just not really getting consistent pressure enough. It does still sort of feel like the CPU kind of just has all day to stand back and throw. Once again, I didn't play entirely a lot, so maybe I need to use different teams, things like that. Maybe it'll be different in the actual full release of the game, but that's just sort of what I initially felt in that regard. Now, the skill-based passing, like I said, I'm gonna need a lot of time with this. I believe I just said that earlier, but I don't know. To me, it kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I'm sort of just on it. I think it does give you more, sort of control of the placement at times. But I think thankfully, in the most recent, I don't know if it was a patch or whatever, but they finally unlocked sort of the practice mode. So I was able to go into the practice mode and mess around with it and sort of just start to get a better feel for it. So, but yeah, my first time using it, I immediately turned it off, went back to classic, and sort of just went at it that way. But once again, there's a new feature. It does seem better than the precision passing they added 3-4 Maddens ago. So hopefully I can sort of get used to it and, hopefully really take full advantage of it, because it is a new feature that they worked on. I'm sure a lot of their priority for this game went towards that feature. But just as it stands right now, I'm sort of indifferent on it. I think if you're someone that gets it right away, that really enjoys it right away, you'll probably really like it. I think I'm too, I don't know, I don't want to say absent-minded, but it's sort of just leave me alone. You know what I mean? When I'm playing the game, it's I feel like there's enough things that my tiny little brain has to try to focus on. I don't need another meter and like more, you know, control, I suppose. I'm kind of just like whatever on that feature. As long as the classic is still in there, that's probably what I'll use. I used a couple different quarterbacks. I tried using some bad quarterbacks. It does kind of feel like if you have a worse quarterback, it does kind of feel like you will sort of feel it using the skill-based passing. I tried using Tua, and let's just say I had a bad time trying to use Tua in the skill-based passing. Really didn't feel like I could attack deep down the field with Tua in this feature, but you know, it doesn't feel, it's not terrible. It's not like I said before, it's not as bad as the precision passing they added, but I don't think it's this. Maybe it's just me. I don't think it's just big game changing feature personally. I feel like ball trajectory is still kind of just not where it needs to be in Madden. I still think you still see a lot of these pass breakup animations where a guy is falling to the ground and then comes back up to sort of have the pass be broken up. That sort of stuff is still in the game, so that's not particularly great in my opinion. Those are the sorts of things that those sort of pre-canned failures, I would say, I guess is what I'd call them, are still in the game. It's not as, I would say, dynamic as you would hope it would be. So yeah, those are my Madden 23 beta impressions. That's all they have for us so far. They have Play Now, Mutt, and the Practice Skills Trainer. That's all that's available right now. I could have sworn they said a franchise was going to be available, but they haven't really mentioned that yet. So whatever they're working on for franchise, maybe it's just not going to be available in enough time to be a part of the beta, which would be kind of disappointing because last year you were able to get your hands on the beta, or in the beta you were able to get your hands on franchise, but maybe it looks like that's going to miss this year. So that'd be disappointing, but it wouldn't be entirely shocking to me if that's the case. Another thing, weather still terrible. Snow still looks awful, so that's not good. Rain still looks whatever. Presentation overall, it's whatever. Not where it needs to be, I would say. Still kind of copied the Fox broadcast more for this Madden. So it's kind of whatever. The score bug, it's kind of ugly, I'm gonna be honest. But you know, that's a small thing. It's whatever. It's not like terrible, but it's better than the paint splatter they did a few years ago. So I'm late with my Madden 23 beta impressions, but here they are. So, you know, hey, it's Madden. It is what it is. You know, you either like it, love it, or indifferent about it. But at the end of the day, you're probably going to end up buying it because it's the only NFL game that you can buy that is simulation-ish based and has a franchise mode. So, yeah. Either way, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you got into the Madden 23 beta, what did you think of it? Let me know, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.